Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brittany and I am in the process of writing my very first novel. Y'all, real quick, it is current 3:58. I just got out of my last meeting of the day about 10 minutes ago, so I have been in meetings since 12. That is like 4 hours. I'm worn out. I was so worn out. Trying to do this writing thing when you have a 9 to 5 is baffling, but this is what you have to do. Let's talk the project. In my previous vlog, I mentioned that I wanted to get some writing done last week because we had the holiday, the 4th of July holiday, and then I'm off on the weekends, and then I got off a little bit early on Friday. I did get some writing done, not nearly as much as I thought I was going to get done, but let me pull up Scrivener and check my numbers. Now, granted, okay, let me tell you what my numbers are for my project, and then I will update you guys on the other part. So I wrote, sorry, I have a spreadsheet tracker because I'm not technically using NaNoWriMo. I used a wordsheet or a spreadsheet word count tracker. I told you 4 hours of meetings, excuse me, on Google Sheets. So I just update this daily. So my daily word goal at this point is 2,971 words per day. And this weekend I wrote 6,525 over the course of 2 days. So on Saturday I did 2,667, and then on Sunday I did 1,741, which was 61% of the way to my goal. This tracker is the GOAT. Like, it breaks everything down for you. It tells me how many words are left. It shows me like where I should be currently. I can hit skip if I don't work on anything. So let me just flip my camera around really quick to show you. So you can see here, I put my goal by the date. Here's the tracker. I am 11% to my goal, which is not bad, over 10% in 2 days. And it has all of the dates set here. So if I don't write, I hit skip. And then if I do write, I enter in my words, and then it'll tell me how many words left, percentage, and then the total, and then how many words are remaining. So not bad. Numbers are actually a little bit skewed. So bulk of the writing I did Saturday and Sunday, but on Wednesday I did about 2,000 words. But I did some more plotting on Thursday, which was the holiday, which is about as much as I was going to get done, and decided that I didn't like the direction that the story was going in, and so I scrapped everything that I wrote and started from scratch, which I normally try not to do because I want to just get the first draft out and then edit later. But because the first couple of scenes that I wrote didn't mesh with the story I was going to end up telling, I had no choice but to start over. And I think even though I hit skip and I erased the word totals, I think it still counts here. So I'm not actually 11% to my goal, but just based on what I've written so far, I'm 11. So because I did write them, even though I deleted them, I'm still gonna count them. And if that's cheating, so be it. Okay, so that's where we are with that. I have written about, sorry, I'm looking at Scrivener, 3.5 scenes so far, which is all part of chapter 1. Each scene so far is like 1,200 to 1,400 words each, most of them about 1,200. So there's a lot of editing that needs to be done because I don't want every chapter to be like 10,000 words. But I think I mentioned like the story has changed so much, and now it's become very clear that this is just going to be a straight up fantasy story, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, I'm going with the flow and I'm letting the story tell me who she thinks she wants to be, and this is just a straight up fantasy. And it has been really fun to do like research about different races and classes and how they interact together, and doing a little bit of light like a world building. I built out a little bit of a magic system, but nothing too crazy. And I'm just using mythical creatures that exist in all of fantasy, so like elves and halflings and orcs and things like that. I'm not creating anything crazy or brand new. Again, this is my first project, so I just wanted to be very easy on myself, and just create a story in a world that basically kind of already exists. Use their magic and their systems to build my story, and then once I'm a little bit more comfortable, maybe I'll start building some things that are like extremely unique. But as of right now, why fix it if it's not broken? Let's talk about the updates that have come since then, because more changes have come as they do. Basically, in watching a few author tubers, it has come to my attention that a lot of authors work on multiple projects at one time, basically to avoid burnout. And that made total sense to me because I have just started on this story. I'm less than 10,000 words in, but I think I just haven't been in the best mental space in regular life, and it got to the point where like sitting down to write was starting to become like a negative association, because it was like I was doing this so I didn't have to focus on other things, and not because I was in a creative place and I was ready to sit down and like write some things. And so I took a break for a few days, and I was not freaking out necessarily, but I definitely was just kind of like this has been my dream since I was a child. I started reading when I was like 3, and I would make up stories. And I used to write plays when I was in high school, and just like writing has always been my dream. And then adulting and depression and life took over, and I took like a 10-year break, and I'm just getting into it again. And I think the mixture of like personal stuff on top of imposter syndrome, on top of that voice that's like, you're 31, it's too late, you know, I think all of those things kicked in, and I was already hitting a wall and I didn't know how to get out of it. And so like I said, I saw some author tubers that were talking about they write multiple projects at one time, and I thought that was brilliant. And I took a nap yesterday, and during this nap, a story appeared. Like start to finish, all of the characters, all of their motives, because remember, this started off as like a cozy mystery. And so I kind of still wanted to write a cozy mystery, and I am currently an ARC reader for 2 books, and one of them is a cozy mystery, and I just started reading it, and it's so cute. She's like, I'll do a review once I will have to check with her and see when she's comfortable with me doing a review, but it's so cute. So I fell asleep, and I got the idea for a cozy mystery that is going to stay a cozy mystery. There are no paranormal anything. It is just people in a small town in Michigan, and there is a record shop, and there is a murder. And yeah, it all just came to me very easily. And so I jumped out of bed and ran to my laptop and basically plotted everything out as far as like the area they're in, the characters, like I said, and the motives. Some of the story beats I've plotted out a little bit. I have the Save the Cat beat sheet taped onto my wall. Let me show you that really quickly. So I have it taped onto my wall. You can't really see it, the letters are quite small, but I have it right here, and my computer is right here. So basically, as I'm trying to plot out scenes and stories, I have it right here to kind of refer to. And I'm not solely doing Save the Cat. I also have this classic 12 chapter mystery formula sheet that I downloaded from, I can't remember the website, but I will leave it in the description box down below. But it basically has it broken down by act and then by chapter, and it tells you like what you should be putting here. So that is what I will be working on today. I'm going to work through this sheet. I have the characters already fleshed out for this story, and I am adding the characters from Google Docs to Scrivener with photos so that they're easily accessible, and I can just have Scrivener open. I don't have to like open Google Docs or open the internet and risk getting lost in something else. So yeah, I have the main character. I'm not entirely sure who the culprit is just yet. I think I know, but I need to plot out the scenes. So I'm going to work on this right now, finish adding characters to Scrivener, and then if I still have the brain power when I'm done with this, I would like to go to my fantasy story and write a couple of scenes, see if I can get my word goal in for today. In full transparency, I do not count my plotting and things like that in my word goal because it doesn't necessarily go towards the actual story. So on Saturday, I spent a lot of time revamping some plotting for the fantasy story, which meant that I did like 14 pages worth of plotting and notes, which is thousands of words, but it doesn't get me closer to my actual story being done, so I don't count those. So even though I haven't worked on the story, I have still gotten some writing done. So I'm not gonna be too hard on myself, but yeah, I've just like been in a slump in life in general, and you know, being an adult is hard sometimes. Hey guys, so it is the next day. Yesterday was a flop. I think I told you guys I just have been in a weird space and I'm not really feeling it. I only got about 498 words in. I wrote for like 10 minutes and then I just shut it off. I just needed to go about my day. And so then I got off of work and I just went to bed. I was just kind of done. I don't know how much better I feel today necessarily, but I do feel like I have the capacity to work today and to get some stuff taken care of. So that's what I'm going to do. So let me just show you my current word tracker that I'm using. It is a Google Doc or Google Sheets tracker, like, since I'm not using Nano. So as a reminder, my goal was 60,000 words by July 31st, and right now I am at 4,906 words, and today is July 9th, so I am quite behind. And to adjust for that, for the next rest of the time, I need to write 3,241 words per day. I'm not too concerned about that number. When I'm in the zone, I generally do between 900 and 1,100 words per 25-minute sprint. So 2 hours and I should be able to hit my 3,000 word goal. Like I said, I'm feeling today like I kind of have a little bit of juice in me as far as being able to get some things done. And like I said yesterday, I am adding another story to my roster just to give me some options so that when I feel like this, I guess I don't want to associate my story with bad feelings. So when I feel down or when I feel in a weird place, I suppose, and I feel like I have to push myself to write, I don't want to start associating that story with bad vibes. And I'm not saying that like the new story I'm working on, I want to associate with bad vibes, but I think having another option to say like, I don't have it in me today, I don't think I can work on this one, but you know, I think this one is a little bit easier to work on today is going to be really important going forward. So I was watching April K. Basically, she does something I thought was interesting where she doesn't seem to plot out all of her chapters and scenes beforehand. She plots chapter 1 and then writes chapter 1 and then plots chapter 2 and then writes chapter 2, which I definitely think will help some of this feeling of like overwhelm. So I'm going to try and do it that way and see how I feel. And we're back. So I finished this 12 chapter mystery formula plot. And so all 4 acts, all 12 chapters are like high level plotted out, which is great. I think I mentioned yesterday that this story has flowed very easily. It was a story I got in a dream, and the more I started kind of plotting out like at a high level, the more everything started coming to me. It was like my oxygen channel lifetime brain kicked in and I'm like, oh, that would be really interesting. So like I said, very, very high level. So now that I have finished this, I am going to start plotting chapter 1. So the cool thing about this mystery formula here, I'm gonna show you too much, but it has act 1 and then chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then like when it gets to the middle or where there should be important subplots or like a rising action, it has like chapter 3 part A and part B. So it really just helps break down in my brain kind of like where the story is. I think when I think of it, the story as a whole, it's really overwhelming because I'm thinking of it like start to finish, what goes in the middle. So using this was very helpful because I didn't have to worry about, you know, beginning, middle, end. It was like I can get to this chapter and it tells me like This is where you reveal the clues. Okay, perfect. So then I know, like, for this section, I just have to focus on revealing the clues. And then, of course, as I write, anywhere that there may be things that don't make sense or that don't flow, of course, they'll be edited. So I wasn't too concerned with making sure that everything was perfect. Plot holes, that's what editing is for. And I'm surprised. I normally am not this gentle with myself. I would be upset because I am very behind in my word count, and I would be obsessing over having the perfect plot and the perfect outline before I've even written anything. But I'm like, this is something that I've wanted to do since I was a child, and I am not going to perfection my way out of doing it. I'm going to give myself grace and enjoy it if this is something that I want to really pursue. So I'm trying. I am trying. So like I said, we have this done, which is the first part. Chapter 1 is like the introduction of the crime and the sleuth. So my next step is to plot out chapter 1 a little bit. I mean, it is kind of plotted already. Okay, let's try this. Actually, you know what? Chapter 1 has 5 points. So, okay, I'm going to plot out chapter 1. This is like a high level, like I said, a high level plotting. So I'm going to try and do a more in-depth plotting just to make sure everything that's here is on the page. And then we'll start actually working on Act 1. And I intend, it's about 10:55 a.m. right now. So that took me about 20 minutes to finish, which is not bad, especially because I'm writing like with my hands. So I'm going to give myself a 5-minute break. And then at 11 o'clock, I'm going to try to spend hopefully no more than an hour plotting out chapter 1 in, I don't know which notebook yet. I'm just going to grab one. I have like 5 right here. So I'm just going to grab a notebook and do my plotting there. And then once I feel satisfied with how much I have plotted out chapter 1, we can actually write chapter 1, which I'm really excited about. Again, my goal, I don't know if I told you my goal for today. So I have to write about 3,000 words per day to catch up by the end of the month. And like I mentioned, I am normally able to do about 900 to 1,100 words per 25-minute, 30-minute sprint. I'm going to put myself at 900 right now because my nails are done. And that slows down my typing the first few days until I feel like, I don't know, until I get used to it, I guess, because I've been wearing my nails short lately. So I am going to put myself at like 900 words, I think is reasonable. And I've even brought my laptop to write with because my keyboard, I don't know if you've probably seen it a little bit, but like my keyboard has like raised keys. So it's a little difficult to do like finger pads with these nails. And then I don't want to type with the tip because then your nails don't last. I do them myself, so like if they pop, I can just go in the other room and do them. So it's not like wasted money necessarily, but I just did them on Sunday and I don't want to do them again. So I'm not going to be too rough on them. But I tried to tap like with my finger pads yesterday and it just was a nightmare. I was making mistakes and slowing down and having to delete, and I hate that. So I'm going to break out my laptop, then use my big computer as a second screen because of course my laptop, sorry, I have this on the thing. So my laptop, you know, has flat keys. So that is the plan. Okay, so chapter 1 is plotted. That took me about 13 minutes, which is not bad. I think it probably went much faster because, like I said, I had the high level kind of overview in this document of what chapter 1 or what I wanted to include in chapter 1, which made it easier then for me to kind of map out, like, she arrives in town, this happens, this happens, this is when she reveals her backstory. She meets a good chunk of the town in the first 2 days, plot out some stuff at the house, how she meets other people, even she brought her kid with her and even give him a little bit of exploring around the house to do. So I think chapter 1 is going to be kind of easy to write. I did briefly map out an idea for a prologue. I was struggling, oh, you can't even see my face. I was struggling with whether or not the murder should happen off screen, like if we should jump right in, but I decided just to build up the story of the town, not to include that prologue. If I do write a prologue, it probably wouldn't be the murder. If anything, it might be Grandpa's death is the prologue, and kind of like what Kelly is going through before she decides to leave and move back into town, because I do start chapter 1 with her arriving back in town. So the prologue will probably be, like I said, either Grandpa's death or it'll be kind of like what she's going through before, and kind of like her thought process when she decides like it's time to go and then finds out her grandpa dies. So I'm going, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to jot down that prologue idea very quickly, just a couple of lines, since I only want it to be a page or two. I don't want like a 17-page prologue. So I'm going to jot that down really quickly. Just as an idea, I don't think I'm gonna write it until I've finished, just because there might be a better place for me to kind of find where to put it. But I also kind of don't want to get too exposition-y in the first couple of chapters, so a prologue may be a good idea. I just need to think about it. I feel like prologues are a newer thing. Like, it was really rare growing up reading books where there was a prologue that was included for the most part, but now it seems like this is kind of like a regular thing. So I don't know that I feel strongly one way or the other, but knowing that it's an option is definitely helpful, because now I don't have to try and shoehorn it into another part of the story. So it could be worth exploring, and maybe I will write the prologue and then chapter 1 and then kind of see how I feel about it. And if I don't like it, like I said, that's what editing's for. I can drop it later. So chapter 1 in all its glory, about a page and a half. Just really quick, high level, like, and then this happens, this happens, this happens. Of course, there's going to be lots of dialogue and everything in between, so I'm not really worried about how long it's going to be. In general, cozy mysteries are only about 60,000 words anyway. So I'm not too worried about it. Once you start adding in dialogue and things like that, it'll be fine. Something else that I have learned recently is that some people, when they are not feeling it, will write all the dialogue in the scene, and then they can come back later and write all the action and everything else, which is brilliant. So, this is part of the journey, is learning different techniques, trying different things, knowing you don't have to do it a certain way. Like, everyone does not have the same writing process, and that's okay. And watching other people's videos have actually been really inspiring for me to try new things. So in case you're interested, I did show very quickly, but the notebook that I'm using is the official Persona 5 Shujin Academy notebook. Persona 5 is like my favorite franchise of anything to ever exist. And so I'm gonna mention it quite a bit. It's from Cook and Becker, which they do a lot of like collaborations with different popular things, but my favorite part is the art. So they have art of the main characters, like here's Joker, here's Ryuji, here's Morgana, but then they have these like gorgeous, it's the whole team, of course. I don't think Akechi is included because technically he wasn't a Phantom Thief. No, Akechi is not in here, even though he's my favorite character. But besides the black and white prints of everyone, there's this really nice print on Joker and Ryuji, which I love so much because like they're the first 3 characters that join the Phantom Thieves in the game, besides Morgana. I don't think Morgana's in this picture. No, because they're at school. So Morgana would be in his backpack. But it's this picture like of the 3 of them who are like the founding members of the Phantom Thieves. And I just think that that's such a cool photo. So I love this notebook. I originally grabbed it to learn Japanese, but Japanese is very hard, and I have put it down for now. So I will get back to it at some point, but now this is officially my murder mystery notebook. Hello, hello, hello. So, my first writing sprint, it was 25 minutes, and I managed to do 1,402 words, which is insane, but also on par. I expected to only be able to do 900 or so, like I said, because of my nails. I think switching to my laptop was a really good idea because, like I mentioned earlier, the keys are more flat. So even though I had to write with like the pads of my fingers, it was a little bit easier to navigate than my regular keyboard. And I decided at the last minute not to mirror or use it as a second screen. So I have my big computer behind me, and that's where I have my timer and music playing. And then I am writing on my laptop, which for now seems to be an okay setup. I am only about 2 beats in, or 2 scenes, I guess you could call it, into the first chapter, and I still have like 4 more scenes to go before the first murder happens. So it's looking like, based on how much I was able to write in that first 25 minutes, chapter 1 might be completely written before the end of the day, which would be fantastic. My goal, like I said, is like 3,600, I think, or let me check, I have it right. My goal for the day is 3,241, and I've already written 1,400 words. So I'm gonna call it even and say write another 2,000, which is another sprint and a half, essentially. So I'm going to do 2 more sprints. It is currently 12:37. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break, do 2 more sprints, and then kind of see how I feel from there, if I want to switch to the other story, or if I want to continue writing this one, or if I'm done for the day, which I might be depending on kind of where my brain power is. And if I'm able to get through all of chapter 1 today and write through the murder, at the very least, I will plot out chapter 2 in my notebook. Then when I decide to come back to writing, whether that's tonight or tomorrow, I have chapter 2 written here already to go. The other thing is I have started writing. I'm about 5,000 words into the other story already, and I am going off of the outline that I wrote, but I'm thinking I need to go back and do this process, that story as well, where I plot the chapter, write the chapter, which means for the third time I'm going to be scrapping the first chapter that I wrote. Maybe what I might do actually is write the chapter, or write the outline for the chapter, and then go back through what I've written so far and delete the things that don't fit and add in the things that do fit. Or alternatively, I might leave it as is, map out the rest of the chapters, and then map out what I want chapter 1 to be. So when I do my first round of edits, then I can add all those in, which I think I might do, because I don't want to keep setting myself back and starting over, because then it becomes like a cycle, and I've already started over once with that story. So yeah, I have a couple minutes left in my break. Just wanted to update you guys on where we currently are. So the goal is to finish chapter 1 today, map out chapter 2 for today or tomorrow, and then we'll see where we go from there.